Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, professional photographers of Idaho and beyond. I'm Bob Ryder.
I'm Larry Fry, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. It's been an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We weren't with you last week. We got snowed in Pocatello.
Yes.
Tell them why we were in Pocatello in the snow, Larry.
Well, we had a couple of meetings last week. Awesome holiday get-togethers last week. We had one in the west part of the state here in Meridian and at Jakers. Mm-hmm. And then the next day on Thursday, we trekked through the snow.
We did trek through the snow.
Through the snow to Pocatello. And we
Over
had
the hill and through the woods.
Yep.
To Pocatello we go.
And we had another one in Pocatello, which was awesome. And thanks for everybody for turning out for those two, especially the one in Pocatello. I know that was tough. We went through some pretty good snowstorms, and I know that the people living in Idaho Falls, Blackfoot, they
came out.
And they went through some pretty good snowstorms to get there, so we really appreciate the attendance. And we hope you all had a good time. And this is just I think this is just a sign of things to come, I hope. It's part of our continuing effort to reach out to people around the state, and we hope to expand it.
Well, we want to be inclusive. We want to see our members.
Yeah.
We want our members to see each other, build relationships. Strengthen those foundations.
Yep.
So we did that out there. But when we rolled into that parking lot through the snow, and your headlights weren't on.
They were on.
They were on, but they were glazed with a quarter inch of ice.
Oh, that was
brown, gross, gray, nasty
The whole
ice.
front of my truck was a complete sheet of ice.
It was a truck.
We pulled up behind a white van, and we had a little moment, Bob and I. Your headlights are on. They are on. They're not on. They're on. And I'm pushing buttons and turning knobs and crap.
My wife's sitting in the back like, what a bunch of ninnies.
And then and the white van in front of us, when I turned the headlights on, I could see them, but
there was a subtle change in the color of the van.
And we found out, so that was getting to the restaurant, which there was a wreck at the bottom of that hill, by the way, so we had to do a big detour. Whatever, we got there, and I walked around the front of the truck, and there's 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch of ice on everything, and there's and dirty brown ice from the road. So my headlights were on, but we just couldn't see.
They were ineffective.
They were very
So we noticed that there was a very nice hotel right next to Jakers.
Yeah, it's 100 yards away. Maybe.
We opted to stay the night there.
Yeah, and thanks to Bob and Bri for. I'm not really one to do that because we were going to come home that night.
Yeah, we were planning on that.
But Sam spoke up, and it just hit true that in the first of all, in the dark of night, and the headlights had ice on them, we couldn't see anyway. And then he says, when you can't see the side of the road. He mentioned something about that, and I'm listening. I'm like, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's like, so are you guys really okay with staying over? I'm like, yeah, we're really okay. My wife had the wherewithal to pack a bag.
She did. I did not. So
it's just toothbrush and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I still did not. Let's put it this way: I wore my beanie all the way home because that was my comb.
Bedhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've got another membership thing today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming up.
We do.
But today we get lunch today,
Go ahead.
right? Yeah. So today at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. here.
Yep. And at 12 p.m. in eastern Idaho, and at 1 p.m. here in Meridian, it's at the Idaho Pizza Company, and that's kind of across from Espresso Cafe on Fairview. And in Pocatello, or Idaho Falls, I'm sorry, it's Cedric's, and that's on Broadway. I'm not familiar with Cedric's over there, but Broadway's
and they're meeting at noon. I think that's the only thing is we're at 1 p.m. They're at noon.
And they're meeting. They're Broadway's the big through street there. So
Andrea Roush and the Hammonds have stepped up to get that rolling over there, so that we can all meet. You know,
so it's going to be awesome today for the first time ever. We're having 2 meetings across the state, close to the same time. So
there will be some overlap.
Yeah.
Perhaps we need to work to align those times just so it's a little easier to understand the announcements.
Listen, they got it going. I really don't care if they meet at 3.
Well, if we moved to 12:30 and they moved to 12:30, then we could say 12:30.
Problem is, we'll just
we couldn't do noon because we're still here yakking.
Well, no, at noon, especially at noon in Boise, everything's just slam it jam.
Yeah.
So
All right, 1 p.m. at the Idaho Pizza on Fairview here in Meridian. For the east or for the west side, and over in Idaho Falls, noon at Cedric's. And look for the Hammonds and look for Andrea Roush, and I'm sure some of our other great folks are going to be over there too.
Yeah, it should be Should be a good time. We have a good time at ours.
It's just a meet and greet. It's just
there's no meeting
grab
involved.
some food. It's no host.
Yeah.
Go through the buffet, get your lunch.
You got to eat anyway, right?
And sit down and just have a chat. It's a nice way to spend time.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talked a lot about last month was who's going to convention.
Yep.
And what kinds of things we're looking forward to there. And I'm looking forward to a lot of those. My wife and I are leaving next week.
Yeah.
It's really exciting for Imaging USA out.
Aren't you leaving on Thursday, right?
We're leaving Friday.
Oh, Friday.
We're going to fly Friday, I'll attend the Affiliate Leaders Workshop on Saturday. I think my wife's going to try and find a massage and do some shopping or whatever while I'm in that class all day, and then launch right into the convention.
Convention, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the trade show this year. Toys. I don't have plans to buy anything.
I bought some new toys.
You did?
Yeah.
Let me guess. Lighting.
Who knew? So, for those of you that don't know, the Godox 300 and the Godox 400 have a Godox mount on the front of them.
Called direct mount.
It's a direct mount. And it's very slickage.
It's very compact.
Yeah, it's a traveler's kit dream is what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So, I found these at B&H Photo. I don't know if Adorama has them or not. Doesn't matter. But I found these 5-inch reflectors that fit on that native mount.
So is that like a little mushroom kind of thing?
Yeah, it's so cool. And it comes with a 50-degree grid, and it comes with some gels if you're into gels and playing with that kind of stuff. And they're not...
Maybe.
They're not... Yeah. And they're not perfect, but I can make them work. And I was telling Bob, I'm not sending them back. They really need to do some work on these.
They have some fitment issues?
They have some fitment issues. So, but I'm pretty handy with fitting things with a hammer. So we're going to we're going to hammer them and get them to fit right. So anyway, I'm really excited about that. And I bought another AD300, so have another one of those in my kit. And gosh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to attend the imaging trade show and just see who's bringing what along. There's rumor about the R1.
Oh.
Which it's hard to think of the R1, how that's going to class compared to the new R3, because that's such a capable unit. But I'm hoping maybe we'll see something. I don't know. That's a pipe dream. But
you think it's going to be? Well, it's hard to say what it's going to do, because I don't. Rumors are like they're out there, but they're not.
Well, that's coming.
Yeah, but they're not.
You know what else is coming? An RF 135. I think it's a 1.4. Is that what I read?
Yeah. A stupid 135.
I'm going to buy that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I would too.
Well, so way back in the Wayback book, in the 80s, I had the L Series 135 FD mount, and that was
a F4 though, right?
No, it was a
2.8.
No, I think it was a 2.
Oh.
And that was hands down my favorite lens back in those days. I tested a few in the EF mount. That lens in the EF mount is known as good ones and bad ones. Along that unit, you might get a good one, you might get a bad one. I tested a few used ones. I never found one that I liked, so I didn't do it. But I know I'm going to. That is such a great focal length for portrait work, the 135.
Just think of this though. I mean, 80-1.2 is stellar, but the 135 is better, I would say.
That's a great focal length. Yeah.
And you think you're talking about lenses from the 80s. Just think of the capabilities they have today making those lenses versus the capabilities they had then making those lenses.
Right.
So what he's talking about is, there are good copies and bad copies, and it all depends on how they polish the glass and did all that crap in the mirrors and all the stuff that's in them, versus today where it's everything's computer.
Well, and the EF mount 135 never had a Mark II.
Yeah.
It was just always the original.
Yep.
And so my wife is on. She says, love you guys. Aw.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Laquita's here.
Hi, Laquita.
I love having both of you ladies watching today.
Yep.
There's somebody else on board. I can't see who it is. I know there's a few people out there.
So I have one more mention. I will be taking some vacation this year, and it involves an airplane a lot later, not now. And I'll be taking my new travel kit, and I'm pretty darn excited.
You picked up a wedding out of state, right? Is that the
I
airplane
did.
thing
Yeah,
that you're talking about?
that's the airplane thing. So I'm pretty excited about getting everything. So I have a plan, and I'm pretty excited about executing that plan, getting it all done, and that involves a new bag or backpack. I mean, this whole thing, I can't wait to see what I can fit into the travel kit.
I almost accidentally picked up another 300 Pro.
You should have.
Accidentally.
Yeah. I accidentally had one in my cart and then accidentally pushed the button. Damn it.
That accidentally happened.
Yeah.
Mike Collins is here. He says, "Love you guys."
Can you imagine my wife when she's another box from Molite? Whoops. Oh, yeah. Well, it's a Christmas gift from me to me.
All right, you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah,
I'm going to introduce the topic today.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
This is a great topic. I am so excited about this topic today. When I've had some things going on in my life, so I didn't know if I was going to be here today. But when I found out I was going to be in town, I told Bob, I said, hey, if you haven't gotten a co-host, I'll be happy to, because this one is...
I actually asked a couple of people, and both of them said, I can't do it this week.
This thing yanks my chain. It's good.
It is a good conversation. Yeah. And even in the 15 minutes before we got started today, we were just having a totally passionate conversation about it.
And two different views, which is...
It's not opposing views. It's just two different ways
views of the same title.
Let's tell them what it is.
Okay.
It is adjacent markets. And actually, I went ahead. I've got the next month and a half of lives scheduled with topics, and I've got plans to bring a guest or two in that the topics are really pertinent to. But today we're going to talk about adjacent markets. I'm really excited about this conversation. It's a
good one.
It's a good one. Well, I'll bring the camera back. Here we go. Right. I'm going to switch that up to do another thing. So the adjacent markets concept, and one of the things that I do with my titles is they're just kind of tease you, that make you think, well, what does he mean by that? Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to spell it all out. I want you to understand that some of the times I'll schedule a topic, and by the time we get to the topic, I'm thinking something different, completely different related to that. Or you come in and you're like throwing a different angle on the topic, and I'm like, that's why this works, by the way.
Yeah.
Is because we both love this stuff and we're passionate about it, and
we don't agree all the time.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Burgers or tacos?
Ugh. Today?
Both.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so adjacent markets. Let's break this down for just a minute. The adjacent markets conversation. If you do, I guess I'd probably be a good illustration of this. I do headshots, right? That's what I'm known for.
That's his genre.
Yeah,
his genre is headshots. Right?
But we also do some commercial imaging, some industrial imaging. So let's say, and I'm just going to illustrate this. Adjacent markets are things that you can do that surround the thing that you do.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So in the photographing buildings genre that we do, and we photograph corporate structures mostly, industrial structures.
Boring stuff.
It's awesome, right? But that's not limited to the developer.
No.
That's not limited to the person that owns the building.
No.
That could be, and I'm going to rattle this off. It could be developer, architect, interior designer, exterior design. It could be landscape architecture. I could keep going. There's so many people who have a hand in that. It could be the people that do the groundwork, the earthwork. It could be the people that do the tip-up walls. It could be...
And those all lead to other, what you're saying is all these other genres, right?
It's all adjacent,
and
right?
Same with this headshot. So let's just say you're doing a headshot for Mary Sue, and she's a hairstylist.
Great.
All right. That doesn't necessarily mean that the hairstylist now is married to a dude that, I don't know.
He's a bodybuilder.
And he wants, and now she's like, geez, Bob was really good at this headshot thing, he's got, and here's the perception out there in the wild, whether it's real or not, he has a really good camera. so I'm sure he can take...
Or really big lights.
Yeah. I'm sure he could take a picture of Bob the bodybuilder, who's my husband. And so...
Let's go with Mark.
Okay, Mark the bodybuilder.
Mark the bodybuilder.
So we go with Mark, or she comes back to Bob, or Bob says your image is ready. She goes, you know what? I'm going to take all 30 of those, and I need, and you'd like that, right? Yeah. And I need some, Mark the bodybuilder, my husband, wants some pictures.
Yeah,
so that's it's not exactly adjacent to hairstyling.
Right.
But you're going to run into this constantly.
Constantly. Yeah. So I say I don't shoot weddings, right?
Right.
I haven't shot weddings you can't go to my website and see my wedding stuff. You could go to my website with a specific address and see wedding stuff, but you can't reach it from the public-facing web. I do weddings for exclusive clients.
That doesn't. What he's saying is he's not going to turn it down. So,
I'm not going to turn down a $10,000 wedding.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't do it either.
I'm going to hire a team of folks to go with me.
If I do a wedding and the gal's dad owns Exxon, and he says, Larry, I want some headshots, I'm doing headshots
for the guy at Exxon.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this. That's like 2 or 3 different approaches to the same concept of adjacent markets, and people often choke a little bit, especially photographers, when I talk about how exclusive we are, how exclusive is not the word, how specified we are, how specialized we are with what we do with headshots.
And you know why that is because you want to be the best at what you do.
Well, you have to be known for something.
Right.
Okay? If you're not known for something, you're known for nothing.
You're not known.
Well, so that's really I have to clear my throat. So I'm going to mute myself.
I'll keep on talking while he's hacking a lung up here.
There it goes. I think we got it.
All right.
I think I'm back.
All right. Turn your mic back on.
Bitty. Yep, I'm back. All right. So this really comes into play where if I'm shooting for the owner of a company, we handle all 50 or 60 of his employees. We do all his onboarding. We have a relationship. Not only do I get the owner of the company, potentially his family, his adult children, and their families, we get the weddings, but we also get whoever his head which wayer is, whatever they call her in the office or him in the office.
XA.
They're a personal assistant.
Yep.
PA is an up-and-coming term. We see that a lot now. Whoever their PA is.
They're not called an XA anymore? Executive assistant? What's PA?
Personal assistant.
Oh, okay.
So it could be either of those. Whatever that title is, that's the person who's booking you, right?
Yeah.
So that's the person you're exchanging emails with.
Yeah.
I've got a client right now. They don't do email. They don't do phone calls. We text everything.
That's awesome.
Whatever. And she's the head which wayer for a nonprofit that I've been doing a ton of work with. And we have this great relationship. So there's an opportunity there for me to work the adjacent markets around that. So when I thought of this topic, I was really thinking more about how if I do this, if I'm photographing this building, my adjacent markets might be the general contractor, might be some of the subcontractors, the electricians, the electric sign guy.
Yeah.
He's my client.
Well, it could be any of them.
Right. Anybody, any of the myriad people.
Asphalt laying company, whatever.
It could be the city who wants to showcase this new project in their jurisdiction.
Because they gave them a bunch of money or something.
Right.
Yeah. And I came at it from a different angle.
I love that, man. So, and the fact that you came back to me, you're like, that is such a great conversation.
Yeah. So I came back to a different. So you've heard me harp on you guys and him about shooting different things. Just go out and shoot. Just do it. Just go out.
You dropped this on me before you got here.
And shoot and do whatever. And this is part of the reason why. So if Bob's doing a building and somebody's and some gal notices that he's got a nice camera, let's go back to Mary, the stylist, and she's got a friend that's a seamstress, and the seamstress says, geez, I'd really like to have some fashion photography for my new ta-da I just made. If you're not out there practicing that stuff, and I'm not saying that you have to practice it like
night and day.
Yeah, but you need to go out and try some of it to see what you're doing wrong. This is like your this is your own personal image competition. And believe me, there's plenty of talking heads on the computer that will tell you all about fashion photography and what it needs to be about. And if you dare throw something out on social media on the site that shall not be named, but on the site that shall not be named, but it's FB. But anyway, if you throw something out there,
Flame book?
Yeah, you're going to expect to get roasted. And don't wear your heart out on your sleeve, because that is, first of all, you're going to ask them, what do you think of this angle? And somebody's going to say, if you would have used a Canon, you would have been, there'll be some
Let's
stuff
talk
like
about
that.
the Sony brand voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, my point is,
boy, that was offensive
to
the Sony shooters. Jason, I'm sorry, man.
So the point is, get out there. That's exactly why I do shoots out. I just do them everywhere. I don't care if it's in a park in the middle of winter. I don't care if it's on the lake. I've waded out into rivers with all my crap in a backpack, with the backpack tied up so that everything's on the back of my neck. Literally,
yeah,
I'm standing this deep in water, taking pictures of fly fishermen. I don't do that for fun, although it is kind of a challenge, because I didn't even have. This was with my 7D, and I didn't even have a float bag. I didn't have underwater housing.
Wow.
Nothing. I'm crawling out there.
You're hoping that you don't eat it with your felt sole.
Exactly. I'm out there in the Henry's Fork, wading the river. It's a fantastic image, by the way. The end result, I should show you guys. And I sold it, by the way. But anyway, neither here nor there. I'm telling you, if you don't try this stuff, and you don't try women, you don't try some fashion, you know what? And while you're in fashion, while you're out there with them, try a headshot. While you're out there with them, try a full length. While you're out there with them, try some environmental.
Well, and that that speaks to some of the techniques that a lot of folks use. That you're shooting. If I'm shooting this person, I'm shooting 3 variants of this person. I'm shooting wide, close, mid range, and pull
far
out
away,
further out, wide.
Yep. So tight,
wide, mid range, and tele. Right.
Tight, mid range, and environmental is what I call it.
Yeah. That's all really good, and I think that's important. You know what? In the long run, I refer to a lot of that as the safe shots.
Yeah.
Right? Practice your safe shots. Practice your safe shots for a lot of different things.
Yep.
So we have an understanding. Once you've got the safe stuff in the bag, you can try stuff. You know what? They might have noticed that we're in a different looking set today.
Yeah.
We're using completely different lighting pattern. I mocked this up yesterday.
And it's brilliant.
I think it's cool, man. I think it's a lot less harsh.
It's less
a little
harsh.
moodier.
Yeah. Well, and we have moods. And the other thing I want to hit on here is, if I'm out and I just said, if I was shooting I don't know, a commercial building or whatever, and the CEO's XA says, we need some headshots, I go do them. That doesn't mean necessarily I'm dissing Bob here that just does headshots. We have talked about this over and over and over again. You simply cannot do all of the work that's in this valley, period.
Well, that goes to my 1% theory.
Yeah, you just can't do it.
We'll probably talk 1% theory and 3Ps coming up again, maybe second quarter this year. It's a conversation I like to keep at the top.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity. I was invited to do some networking yesterday. Surprise. And it's with a very specific group of people. It's just veteran business owners, and there were 4 of us at the table, and it was excellent. One of the other guys at the table, he's a photographer.
That's perfect.
Okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't do what I do, and I don't really do what he does. I'm sure there's overlap, like what you were just talking about. And then one of the other guys at the table is a realtor. You want to talk about a saturated market, right?
Yeah.
And then the other guy at the table is a sign and graphics guy.
Yeah.
And we had the best conversation, but we had that conversation about the 1%. We had that conversation about enough of the pie going around that, a lot of jobs, I don't fly, right? I don't fly a drone. So I sub those jobs out. I don't want to sub those jobs out to somebody who's going to try and take my work, but that's generally not what I'm worried about.
Right.
I'm looking for the most competent subcontractor that I can find to do that work for me.
Some of the best, I don't know how to say this, some of the best acquaintances that I have, or friends, if you want. We're talking about imaging, going to imaging. I go to Shutterfest, not going this year, sad day, but that's okay. I talk about Shutterfest a lot, and the reason I do is because, especially at Shutterfest, they check their egos at the door, and you don't hear about, I'm the best at this and I'm the best at that, and you don't hear anything about, keep your distance because I'm the wedding photographer and you're not. You know, there's none of that in that building.
You mentioned to me that there's not a lot of display of status.
There is no display of status. Matter of fact, everybody's got the same name badge. That's it. I mean, there's no speaker
bling.
There's no there's no nothing.
I can understand the appeal in that because that can be off-putting.
Yeah, it's what I find. The reason I'm telling this story is because there's a photographer here in town that has gone to Shutterfest, and that's actually where I met him because I couldn't believe there was another one from Idaho. So, you know, we've kept in touch, and he's a great guy. I don't know if he'll ever join PPI or not, but that part doesn't matter. What matters is he also is a wedding photographer.
Okay.
But we have talked about the pool of weddings, and when you actually put it, if you know, to a non-rational thinking person, the non-rational thinking person is, I want all the business I can.
I want all the weddings.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great until you figure out how many weddings there actually are.
Yeah.
And then and we've had this great relationship where I've gotten weddings off of him, he's gotten weddings off of me.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I mean,
well, it goes way beyond not caring. So Lisa Payne, headshot photographer in Boise, Brenda Leap, who was on our Members Connect Tuesday night. She's got a headshot studio in downtown Boise. She's a great gal. I'm so glad she's coming back into the organization. Yep. Cy Gilbert does high-end real estate and portraiture, headshots. He does a great job with it. I don't want his clients.
Yeah, it's all about your client and this guy.
We go to lunch. We go to Ling and Louise, and we have a couple of drinks and laugh and eat food
and we talked about this before too. Not your client, right?
Yeah.
So I can't work. I'm sure I couldn't work with some of the customers he's got, and I'm pretty sure he couldn't work with some of the ones I got.
I could illustrate this just a little bit. I bid a job. A company came to me with XYZ parameters. We have 60 people. We need headshots for the whole company. So this is my package. This is how I do that. And that turned into something else during the time span of probably a month of emails. It turned into they were really looking for a headshot photographer to come in and do headshots for almost free as a charitable event. And I asked them, how do you plan to monetize that?
Yeah, I don't see.
And that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
I know the person that picked up that job at about half the price that I had quoted, and it turned out to be 25 people instead of 60.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm fine that person got it because I don't want that job at that price with a wishy-washy client that's trying to. I just didn't want that. And
and again, you're going to come on this. We've kind of gotten a little bit off topic, but you're going to find this out there, and it's all up to you, literally, if you want to do that or not. If you want to take on these adjacent markets, but I can tell you that a lot of times, if there's a person that asks you. If you have had them in studio or you've shot their portrait or whatever you shot, and then they say, gosh, my grandma's turning 101 tomorrow. I'd really like to have you do my birthday party.
I've done that. I have totally done that.
Okay, I'll do your birthday party.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do for lighting at that birthday party? This is my point. I've done enough reception lighting that it's no big deal. If you haven't, go light your living room. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go rent a hall.
You want to have a little fun and challenge yourself. Go light your kid's gymnasium.
That's first of all, bring the sun, okay? Because these public school gymnasiums are lit with a 60-watt CFL bulb.
Yeah, they got candles, right? Yeah. Some guy up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's bring it back to the adjacent markets for just a minute. One of the things that comes to mind when we talk adjacent markets is this concept that, let's say you've got a handful of lighting equipment. All right, I'm not talking about you've got this full tilt studio.
Handful.
But bear with me a minute.
Okay.
You're an aspiring photographer. You've bought your first studio light. You got a couple of speed lights that you picked up along the way. And you're doing some portraits of your teenage daughter and some of her teammates.
Okay.
And that's your bend. Like, that's what you're into.
Yeah.
And then along comes a friend who makes a little custom jewelry.
Yeah.
You have everything you need to do some product photography.
Yep.
So get out your tabletop and work up some product photography.
Yeah.
And well, you did some product photography, and maybe that turned into a little bit of stop animation. Or maybe that turned into, I have pretty much everything that I need to turn this into a product video with a little turntable showing the different sides of it. I don't really know how to do that. But that's a totally adjacent market.
Yep.
It's an adjacent product, really, is what it is.
And along the way, you know, I have a lot of lighting stuff, so do you. So don't say anything. But we both are lighting junkies, and that's fine. And we have a lot of it, and that's fine too. But you may not, and that's also fine. But what I'm about to say is, you know, now you're doing this job for a person. They say, I want you to come over and do my grandma's 101st birthday. Okay, fine. And you have done enough of that stuff and the speed lights will work just fine, and the light you have will work just fine. But once you get out of there, you're going, wow, it sure would have been nice if I would have had
XYZ.
This.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you take this job literally fell into your lap. And then, you know, in my point of view, unless you 100% need all of the profits from that job to take care of your family or whatever you need to do, perhaps that might be a springboard to either an additional piece of equipment that you need or whatever. Or maybe you like doing birthday parties.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. Is, so you did that thing that was an also.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I really enjoy doing that I don't advertise and I don't talk about much, I love to photograph corporate events. I really enjoy photographing corporate events.
Dude, compared to doing a wedding, and talk about some bank, but compared to doing a wedding, they are cake. And if you're in with if you get a job at a corporate event, the first thing you need to do, if they have hired a videographer and you, is go make friends with the videographer.
Marlon.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Marlon was the video guy at this big corporate event I shot earlier this year.
Make friends with
last year.
Yeah,
there was no earlier.
Mine was 2 years ago in 20. So anyway, but he's talking corporate. I would take those. I'd take those every day.
I really like corporate events. There's I didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole, but there's a lot you kind of need to know.
Yeah.
It's easy if you know how to anticipate where the speaker's going to go.
There's lots of stuff to that. It's just like a wedding. You have to know where they are. Yeah, you especially have to know what they want. So
these are my settings for when the speaker is on stage. This is my settings for when I'm photographing the audience. This is my settings for when we go out into the hallway, which is all window light. This is my settings for when we go outside during the day. These are my settings for when we went outside in the pitch black evening and the lights that they had hired didn't show up.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot to it. But that's an adjacent market. My corporate event photography is an adjacent market to my
commercial,
working, to my commercial everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And I love it. I love it. So you'll find that thing, you'll take on that job. It could be the birthday party. I've done that. I enjoyed that too. And they fed me. It was good. And it was people I knew. And who doesn't want to celebrate a long life, right?
Yeah.
So
I would put,
I did funeral.
I would put this to you. Let me see how you.
I am listening.
Let me see how you take this one. So I started out just like everybody else, just shooting in whatever, and then I decided to go into wedding photography, and I'm glad I did. And I would put this to you, because of my experiences with wedding photography, and I'm talking when you're a wedding photographer, you're pretty much running the show. But because of that experience, it made my corporate events easier.
Yes.
It made my birthdays easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't know that when I started.
Right.
But looking back on it, that corporate event was, and I just told you guys, it was cake compared to a wedding, right?
Oh yeah.
So
well, because the stresses are different.
Well, on a wedding, you got one chance. That's it. If you blow it, you just pack your stuff and move out. But yeah, exactly. Anyway,
that's right. I just sucked my thumb and left
I would say that if you guys aren't, a lot of you out there are introverts. I get that because I'm kind of there with you. get over that fear. Get over the fear of being behind your camera, and get over the thing you do like, I'm not very good, but you can take a look at this. Nah. You got to get over that fear because, and that's why you practice, right? So when you go,
you know what? That's a whole nother conversation that we need to have.
Yeah.
We did a fear episode probably 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
But that fear thing is real, and we all get it. I don't care if you're extroverted or introverted. The moment where you have to produce, when you have to crap yourself some photography.
He didn't say craft.
Yeah. When you're in it and something changes dramatically.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's not always easy, right? So there can be a real fear component to that. And let's do a fear episode, but carry on.
But the good news is, if you've been out there and you've practiced this stuff,
You've shot it.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
If your camera bags on you, go get the other one.
So you're at your 8th grader's middle school graduation. Shoot it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. That's just.
Be that parent that shows up with a ridiculous ass camera.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow, he's got a white lens. Boy, that's a really nice camera.
Yeah. He must be a good photographer.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation before.
Or soccer. I mean, I shot soccer for a long time, and everyone's got the white lenses out.
You know what's harder than soccer?
Volleyball.
Volleyball.
Because it's inside those crappy ass.
Holy
fields.
crap,
Yeah.
that's hard to do.
Yeah. Or here's another one: gymnastics.
Oh.
You know when those women like whip around, guys too, but then they like do their tumbling? Yeah. You get like, it looks like a spot this big that's perfectly in focus, and all this stuff out here is like blurry.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come back to this adjacent markets, okay?
Michael, I don't want to hear about you didn't light it good enough or anything. Okay, just saying.
I want to come back to this adjacent markets because sometimes when you may not even understand, you may not even realize that there's an additional market to be tapped. We are constantly, all right, so I'm going to lay this out, okay? I really shouldn't talk about this, but I'm going to anyway. I'm just going to give it away.
Yeah. It's a freebie. Write it down.
I don't want to say we're aggressive. Assertive, maybe? We're fairly assertive with reaching out to organizations on LinkedIn that we want to work for.
Oh, you're aggressive.
Okay, so I'm aggressive at my client seeking, right?
Yeah.
I identify people that I want to work for, and then I start getting involved with their conversations on LinkedIn, and occasionally we get the rejection that is, we have people in-house for that.
Yep.
And I have 2 comebacks to that. Both start with an affirmation. That's awesome. Are you happy with the results you're getting?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It opens the door for more conversation. Their attempt at a shutdown, right, was we have people for that. So an adjacent market for us is training in-house departments on how to do better headshots. Because that person who's their in-house marketing is a jack of all trades. Right? They're taking some product photo and they're taking some pictures during.
They're the J.C. Penney photo studio. It's exactly
even broader than that, because they're taking pictures at events and they're taking pictures of their buildings and they're taking pictures interiors and exteriors and they're taking pictures of their people.
But what I meant,
all of it is okay, but none of it is fantastic.
And what I meant about that, it was like, for headshots, you put the light here, you do this here, you do this.
Yeah.
And for commercial photography, you use this lens, and you put, they have a cookbook basically, and that's what they follow. What he's talking about is totally different. Is like, I can show you how to take that cookbook to the next level.
Yeah. So we offer that.
Yeah.
I think it's an adjacent market for us when somebody gives us that. What is that? The rejection.
Yeah.
Right.
That's another. We could do a whole thing on rejection.
Sam would be great to have on board for that conversation, because he's just done so well with managing
Sam could do a whole
the
thing on
sales.
rejection. We should talk him into it.
Yeah. That's a good idea. You guys want to see Sam? That's the in-person sales conversation, but sales rejections and overcoming those. So one way that we overcome those is by offering them something that they didn't anticipate. I'm not looking to take business away from your in-house people, but I'd be happy to consult with them on the best equipment to get that job done, and help them help manage their purchase for that. so that they get the right equipment in a timely manner, and then show them how to use that. And we don't bring them here to teach them how to do work. We go to their, lots of these businesses have a tiny green screen room with like those $15 Newer stands that lean.
It's a closet, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go to those places and happily show them.
Are you bagging on Newer?
Not all of it, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
You could pick any brand stand for $15, and it's not going to hold your 6-pound light.
Well, it will.
And a 60-inch modifier.
It will for a minute.
Timber! Well, great, man. We are...
I thought you were actually going to go a completely different route with that.
Where was I going?
Well, you said you... So yeah, it was perfect. That's an adjacent market. That was perfect example. My real life example was the hunting trip in Nebraska, where I picked up a wedding.
Right.
Who does that? I mean, I go hunting.
Well, I'll tell you, I was photographing a grand opening, a ribbon cutting ceremony for a company over at the Village, when the general manager of the Village approached me and says, "Do you do architectural photography?" Yes, we do. We just completed that big project for them out of the Treasure Valley Marketplace, right?
You know what else we need to talk about? How do you handle this? And I know we hit on this a lot, but you know, the old thing about websites, right? You got to have a website that's...
Got to show it to sell it.
Yeah, show it to sell it. But you don't want a website that's all over the place. That's the other big thing. If you're going to be a wedding photographer, you need to show weddings. That's it.
Right.
You don't want to show babies. You don't want to show pets.
Yeah.
You don't want to show kids. You need to show weddings.
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
A lot of photographers like specialize in 12 or 13 different things.
Yeah.
You know, we do newborns and boudoir.
Yeah.
And race, NASCAR race, and and we, you know,
and skydiving.
And no, right? That goes to the specialist thing. We've talked about that before. We've been at this now for almost 3 years. Sam started this almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We've been doing these lives almost every week now for a long, long time, and we've covered a lot of great territory. And I think it's time to start bringing back some of those conversations, because 2 years later, they maybe take a little different twist, or maybe we're always learning, right?
Yeah.
Always refining how we do that. One of the things that you said made me think about this. You're in Nebraska on a hunting trip. Nebraska?
Yeah.
On a hunting trip. And you picked up a wedding.
Yeah.
Where?
California.
California. Awesome. I was at a business yesterday talking to the owner, and he says, "Yeah, so I spent 20 years in the oil fields and finally got done with that and opened this business. I have no idea what I'm doing." Okay. He's got a very nice location, well equipped. He's hiring the people that know what needs to be done, right? Making a successful business out of this. He gets a phone call from a very large company. Think potatoes.
Ooh, okay.
To do some very expensive work. And his first thing is, "Can we do that?" and the guy says, I don't know. "Yeah, we can handle that." You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking
about. Right? I know Laquita knows this. "Hey, can you photograph my?" And you're like, "I've never done that." "But yes, I can." You know what I mean? I mean, none of us started out doing what we do. We weren't born with this ability. We've developed these abilities. And what you're saying about shoot stuff is developing those abilities.
Absolutely.
Developing those skills. I say take classes. Take classes that are akin to what you do.
Can I stop you?
Yes.
Listen, so I just want to say, because it's only going to last for the next week or so, or maybe 10 days. Just exactly what he said. We're always learning all the time. And if you're not, I think you're marvelous. But we always are learning something all the time. So there's a particular area that I'm lacking in. It's not many, but this is one of them. So
driving.
No. So I went out to.
You haven't killed me yet, so.
No, I haven't killed you yet, man. We made it through the snow and the crap. So, but my mind goes to Creative Live, Chase Jarvis.
Oh, Creative Live is excellent.
So, I I'm thinking, gosh, I need to do this, but I really need some structure behind my learning because that's how I learn. Yeah. And I thought, well, I don't know what Creative Live's doing out there. Well, boom, pop out to Creative Live. They've got a sale. I'm telling you, if you're going to buy a Creative Live class right now, you should hop out to Creative Live because of the next, I think it's 6 days or 7 days, they're like 60, 70, 80% off. So I didn't pick up one, I picked up 3 classes for a total of $50.
That's excellent.
That's excellent.
So, one of the things that I like about Creative Live, and I know people will lean on, well, YouTube's got everything. On YouTube, you've got yahoos. There's a lot of yahoos. There's a few people I follow.
We're on YouTube.
Yahoo! Right? Unmesh? Do you watch him?
Who?
Unmesh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Pixel Perfect?
Yeah.
Okay. He's solid. I go to him when I'm looking for a skill that I need to pick up.
Scott Detweiler. There's a lot. There's David Bird for composite. There's a ton of them out there that are excellent, but he's right.
But you can go to Creative Live and know you're going to get somebody who's been vetted and knows the work.
And here's the difference in my
vetted.
Vetted. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Here's the difference in my view. In Creative Live, it's a structured program, goes from A to Z, right? YouTube, you're going to be going to C and then to J and then back to A, and because it's all in segments, right? It's like a 15-minute segment or a half-hour segment or what hour segment. So it's worth the money. Anyway, they have a sale next 6 days. Check it out. All right. And I'm not getting paid by Creative Live.
Yeah, no, it's just a great value, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple of, in fact, one of our major products that we offer that is one of my more lucrative products is something that I picked up, the initial skill I picked up off of Creative Live.
And the very first time I made money on running photography was because of Sal Sincata on Creative Live.
Oh man, yeah.
That business class is killer. Okay.
All right, so 2 things I want to talk about. These 2 things right here.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to let you cover this because you always cover this. So here it comes.
You know what? We've had a great time this year going around the state and meeting and greeting, and we got some new members and everything out, and we're excited because we're actually growing, and we'd like to grow some more. And I want to throw another thing on this, but first of all, if you'd like to join our organization, it's simple, ppofidaho.com. There's a big join us button down there so you can, or right on the top page, $9.99 a month, $99 a year. If you do $9.99 a month, we ask for a year's commitment, or $99 for the year, so you're saving $20 or so. And we also need help. So
we do.
You know what? If you're passionate,
and by help, we're looking for volunteers to fill certain roles.
Right. And if you're passionate about photography and you want to join us, and if you want to help out, let us know. So PP of Idaho.
I like the way you said that. If you're passionate about photography, and boom.
Yeah.
That's it. So one of the things that we encounter, and I'm going to come back to us, I think. Here we go. One of the things that we encounter with Professional Photographers Idaho is people don't think they're pro enough to come on board.
Yeah.
And the reality is if you're passionate about photography and you want to surround yourself with people who operate at every level of the game, this is the place for you. And on top of that, and I feel like I'm selling, but
you are.
I'm not though, because I can't begin to illustrate the value they get out of being surrounded by these people.
I wish we had. So Tish and Bernadette, if you guys are going to watch this later or you watch it later or whatever, kind of let us know in the comments later
what you've experienced
this fall retreat.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys have got it. Anyway, come on in, join us, and we are definitely going to need some help. So if you want to help, let us know. And it is ppofidaho@gmail.com. If you just want to email somebody and say, hey, I don't know, got a camera and I don't know how to work it.
And we're both available. If you can't find me on social media, I've fallen off the earth. I'm at Bob Ryder Photo everywhere. And on top of that, like, you're Larry at Larry Fry Photography.
Yeah.
And I'm hello@bobryder.com.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so let's bump this and then close with that, okay?
All right.
So the next thing, we're just going to hit this real quick. Let's do a big push. Ready?
Yep. Yum, lunch.
All right. Yeah, so we've got to finish here so we can go to the pizza place. I think our folks are going to be meeting in just a few minutes over at Cedric's. Folks, have a great day. Come enjoy lunch over at the pizza joint and meet some folk.
Yeah.
I'm bringing somebody today as a guest, and I'm buying their lunch.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you've met Vince.
Oh, Vince. Yeah.
Vince is coming today. He's like, He asked me. He asked me last night. He says, "Do I have to be a member to come to the lunch?" I'm like, "Absolutely not.
Right.
We just want you to come and experience our people."
There you go. If you're a PPI member, listen. This is a great way to introduce them to our group. Invite your friends to lunch. Bring them on over.
Yeah.
Pay for their lunch.
And I'm going to buy him a $7 lunch, right? What? His drink. He's on his own for a drink. No.
Yeah.
All right. So the last thing I want to talk about here. Let's see if I can get that up in there. This is next week's episode.
Actually, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah. So we should probably talk about that.
We should probably talk.
Yeah. I will be on an airplane next Friday and not doing a live. There you go.
Yeah.
Sam will be on an airplane.
Not doing a live.
Or he'll be, no live next week.
Yeah.
Imaging USA, some of us are traveling out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll be gone for the week. And we'll be back on the 21st for Push. And I love this episode, okay? Not every closed door is locked.
That's a true story.
Push.
This is going to be talking about rejection, so that's good. Kind of.
That's going to be a part of it for sure. All right, we ready to go?
I think so.
All right, I'm going to come back to us here for just a second.
Okay.
We can say goodbye. See you at lunch, hopefully. And if not, I'll see you back on the 21st for our Push episode. And I'm going to bring this in now and say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Larry.
Bye-bye.